reset comes out for Katarina, the fight is over. If the reset comes out for Viego with the sole possession, the fight is over. You know, there's a lot of tools for Antic to be able to blow these team fights out of proportion. And I think that, you know, experienced players like Antic know how to make those scenarios come to fruition.
That's the one, Tally. That is the one. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're loading ourselves in for the second time tonight. This is what you've all been waiting for. We've seen all these crazy champions, and finally, graced by the presence of a Katarina, and graced by a level 1 first blood foreigner. That's not your side of the jungle, buddy.
Yeah, and this is really good scouting by KNG. You know, we always talk about player tendencies and what they tend to do a lot. I think we see this happen a lot. You know, we see mid laners or junglers walk up to try to get a ward on the chickens early on in the game. So it's just a nice stack by KNG to punish Foreigner overextending in the early game.
Let's see then. Does that actually change much? Because I'd imagine it certainly wouldn't. Just a small moral victory, but certainly for Sovereign to start up with a extra purchase is even better if you're looking to try and lock down this Katarina.
Yeah, very unfortunate that Incursio, in his debut Katarina game, has to verse 3 potions and Darksteel Doran's Ring, Comet Lissandra level 1. Doesn't have a lot of sustain by himself, you know, has access to the Doran's Blade, which means he wants to trade aggressively. He wants to finally get to that, you know, level 2 point where he can use the dagger and, you know, the Shunpo to be able to trade aggressively onto the Lissandra. But he doesn't really care about losing push in the early game because as long as he's eating the CS and rotating to these skirmishes, he will be able to impact the game.
And that's what we saw be such a prominent feature of his assassin gameplay on the Zed, right? Very keen to lean towards these side lanes and say, look, I've had a moment to shine, and I am going to execute. And given what you've mentioned already about this 1v1, I'm sure it's going to be a similar situation this time around, right? Link up, make sure that you can find success, and there's going to be all the CC you need, be it a Kennen in top lane or a Blitzcrank bot.
Yeah, and I think Incursio, you know, running the Conqueror just goes to show how much experience he has in the champ. You know, when thinking about Katarina, we're very used to seeing the Electrocute, which really abuses those short trades. But, you know, one of Lissandra's biggest weaknesses is that she has pretty long cooldowns, and being able to extend the trades, especially with Katarina, who has auto resets, you know, use that for the Conqueror, stacking that up early game. Going to be able to get level 3 first because the wave crash so early means he's going to be able to play aggressively onto Sovereign if he wants, as this level 3 dings.
There it is then. We're going to get a chance to see as the camera stays firmly locked in place around this mid lane. This certainly is the one to watch. I suppose also worth mentioning then, in terms of the top lane, is it as simple as saying that, you know, range mismatch, the Kennen should have an easy time?
Pretty comfortable.
I've been saved by the bell. You'll never know. That was cringe, and we're never doing it again. Welcome back to the game. I'm so happy to be here. I'll tell you, it was meant to be Lulu. All I could think of was Wild Growth. Jump in the air and maybe hope that you'd figure it out.
You just T-pose on us.
Basically, I just hit a fiddlesticks.
So we do see the Chrono Break come through. You know, Gavin back to safety outside the tower of Antic. You know, Kosio does hit the level 3, so he's going to be able to start trading in the mid lane, but these trades will be always favorable for Sovereign, as he's going to be a bit, you know, to have a bit better base stats in early game. Incursio really wants these extended trades to happen, but that is when Refury can start impacting the mid lane if Incursio does get too low.
Let's dial it back a few moments, because I'm sure for a lot of these viewers, maybe they've only just tuned in, a lot of people saying, where's game 2? Has it started? Has it finished? What's going to go on? We actually had to hold that entire point here, because Incursio's under threat. The Katarina that Pike so beautifully demonstrated for us has unfortunately fallen on down.
Yeah, and there it is. There's the easy pickup. As I said, you know, there's going to be a lot of volatility in this mid lane. Cursor needs to be aggressive if he wants to be able to create any windows for him to be able to get the CS in mid lane, but does fall down, does blow the flash and the TP, so it's going to be very hard for him to be able to snowball from this point.
Let's see. Now it almost feels like I'm the analyst because I'm trying to get a word in here, but it's almost like I want you to try and describe once again to the viewers what these sort of win conditions we're looking for are, because you mentioned it already just then that the Lissandra matchup is really nice into this Katarina. Hold it once more. I might just actually pass the mic to myself again as we go into the fight, as Wooden is under threat and Foreigner with the Viego is back to winning ways.
Yeah, easy as that. I would say the win conditions, you know, we kind of mentioned it on the cast a little bit, is, you know, KNG wants this very stable game to happen. They want to reach the mid game with not much volatility happen, because I just think they have an outright stronger comp when it comes to these team fights. I don't think the Katarina will be able to do an insane amount if it's a stable game. But, you know, look across the map, Antic needs to use their, you know, winning lanes to help Incursio play the game. They need to be able to use this, you know, if they guarantee priority in the bot lane, that Draco can go walk to mid and impact, or they want to fight. What these skirmishes around these early objectives happen, like the Grubs, like the first dragon, needs to make sure that these fights are happening, so this 1v1, which looks so one-sided, isn't extended.
Yeah, it does not look pretty, does it? You can see that Wooden, despite falling down to that gank, is still able to make sure that Zonis is pushed back for the meantime. So I suppose that you know, it really does fall upon the likes of both Raze and Draco to try and be aggressive, to try and find a kill. and to try and unleash themselves from that lane to assist elsewhere. Speak of the man himself. He's currently under a bit of attack, but the handshake goes out, and everyone's okay.
And this is the mid lane experience coming out of Reef Tree. He knows that Incursor, if he wants to trade, has to go forward and puts himself in a position to get rooted, and that lane game can really happen. And, you know, the hook lands onto Gavin in the bot lane. This will be him surviving, Skimmy, so he does get out of there alive. It's really nice by, you know, Raze and Dracu to use their priority to get a reset for Razor. In the inventory, he has the pickaxe and the boots advantage onto Vendrick. Vendrick hasn't found the base yet, and with this wave being frozen, they have all the control they want of this bot lane.
That is crazy, just how close he was from falling on down. Either way, though, they might look to continue to march ahead and say, you don't know where we are, you know that Refury's here, but do you expect Sovereign? Surely the pings of Incursu say they are missing care. Bot, out goes that glacial prison, and like a prison, you're locked in place. You can't do much about it, but Draco also, these supports, man, they're living the best life.
Yeah, we're going to see the dive on the top lane. It should be a pretty easy one with the ult coming out of cannon, but Woodon doing a very good job to buy a lot of time, and it's going to be the easy outplay for him, Skimmy.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Did not expect to see that one this time around. That must feel good for Woodon, despite falling down so many times. That he at least answers back. Raze tries to go crazy with it. We talk about tower dives, and another one takes place right there. Incursu hunting for it. There is that revive. It's not to be found. No reset, no chance. But Incursu puts in his best Pike cosplay, spins around with those daggers, and absolutely crushes.
Yeah, well, this is just a multi-step, play for Incursio. Firstly, Sovereign rotates bot, blows the ulti to try and kill Dracu, but doesn't, guarantee the kill for himself. So Incursio uses that bit of priority that he has from his mid lane of roaming, rotates down to the bot side. Kanga, making that back-to-back play. I always talk about how that, puts yourself in a position to be countered. Incursio, very known for his roam timings, finds the easy cleanup, and he's finally in the game.
And he certainly does. Let's run it back on this replay, how it starts at the spot lane, because the antics side is so low.
Yeah, this looks very favorable for Kang. You look at the map, you already see Dracu going down. Gavin's going to come in and they can play for the dive, but it's just the timing that, Sovereign isn't here while Incursio is, and Raze does such a good job buying so much time, using the flash and dash to create so much space, and there's just no answer coming out of the Kanga lineup.
Certainly isn't to be. There's no CC to stop this champion from really going to town and doing pretty much as it pleases. As to feel good then, as you return back to that lane, both these mid laners having 2 kills to the name as well, and both with a dark seal on their finger, hoping that they are the chosen one.
Yeah, and we get to see the AP build coming out in Cursor. I think this is definitely correct. I think if he does go for the AD build, it's more reliant on having more uptime and less CC, because you need to be auto-attacking, you need to be able to commit to your ult, whereas with the Katarina, or AP Katarina, these daggers can do a huge amount of damage. If someone missteps and lands on one of these daggers, we get to see how strong these Katarinas can be in solo queue, and is it going to be something he can translate to the competitive scene?
So satisfying though, isn't it, when you have that one-shot AP burst as opposed to sort of the more bruiser build that you've seen in the past from the Katarina. Such a frustrating champion, I'm sure, to try and balance, right? When you can have all these variations, like, isn't that meant to be an AP assassin, and it's just out here building like a tank with Divine Sunder and all the rest? many patches ago, but that's neither here nor there at this stage. They will still be the major focus of this one, but it's not to put it past the likes of Frono, who wants to make sure that even he in his 1v1 doesn't fall victim to this Kha'Zix.
Yeah, I think Foreigner, always someone who's going to have a very good performance on the Viego, but Incursio going forward, going to go full down to this gank, which is pretty easy for the team here, committing the flash, but, Refury just always hovering around mid because there's so much kill threat with this Lissandra, and Incursio has to be always going forward and being able to trade.
Yeah, really patient was it by Refury there, just waiting and saying that Sovereign, look, I know the fights are about to break out. All you need to do is hit your ultimate, and then we have the uptime and all that isolated DPS. That's their 5th kill of the game then. It's a happy place for Kanga to be, as they might look to try and transition this into an objective. No, they actually feign it and say, Vendrick, we're going to leave you to the wolves. Foreigner rocks up to the party. He's got no support. And this game really is all about those resets.
Yeah, it's Vendrick falling down, and this might be the Dragon started for Foreigner. We do have Refury hanging around. He doesn't have the flash, though, so if there is a bot lane hopper here, he has to always worry about Dracu hook landing, because that will spell certain death for him.
So finally on towards that Dragon at the 10-minute mark. A chance then for them to see what they can get accomplished with this one. First item purchased, rush there by Sovereign, off towards that Malignant. It's going to really help with that extra ultimate ability haste. Make sure that he can beat that menace. Nice little smite denial away as it gets picked up there. And yeah, now it does make this game a little bit extra spicy, because 10 minutes in, the gold is dead even.
Yeah, it went on getting chunked out there, but we'll have access to the TP in a couple seconds, so he's not going to miss out on any more in the top lane, but just a really good laning phase from Zornus to be able to create such a big CS lead. Actually going to walk back to lane instead of, waiting for the TP. It's still not going to be, it's going to be up right now, so it is probably the correct choice to walk back to lane based on how far he's got away from the fountain already. Unfortunately, he's going to miss out on some experience, but this is the case of blind picking champs like the Aatrox. You are so susceptible to those range counter picks.
Speaking of being susceptible, right, a squishy Enchanter-esque support always going to be victim to that of a Blitzcrank. The hook landed, didn't even require the Ignite to get the killing blow. Got the job done, just in tandem as a two-man squad. Once again, on point with these hooks. This time the Ignite will connect the Flash, the Chain of Corruptions, and the Barrier, just for good measure. That will be the difference maker here. Otherwise, he would have been an easy double.
Yeah, and Drakus is very on point with these hooks. I talked about how hard it is to play into the Blitzcrank with dive happening in mid. Do they have the damage?
How does Incursor look to try and navigate this one? He has no flash, but Sovereign certainly does. He flashes forward, hits the ultimate, and says, what do you do to outplay that? You need a QSS, and you need it stat. But Draku is on the roam. He's going to go for the hook and threads it right down the middle. And I don't think he would have the damage anyway, because Foreigner was still a while away.
Yeah, we get to see the power of this mid jungle. I think they're playing really well together. All their windows. Refury going back into the dive. Doesn't have the flash, so I think he's inting right now, Skibby.
No way. There's no way. You can see even Draku's cam's like, why did he do that? You literally utilized caster curse, Tally. Well done. You're a fully fledged caster now.
I just enabled him to just run in there. My bad, guys. Happens to the best of us, but he thought he had enough damage. Unfortunately, Draku's a bit fed from how well he is doing in the bot lane right now alongside his partner Raze, and we might just see another dive happening on the Wooden here, and I think this one's going to be much harder to outplay.
Yeah, very difficult to try and outplay this one. You've run away, but there's the Heartbreaker. The execution at this point is just so much. Makes it very easily then for Zornus to stabilize, and that might try to create a little bit of daylight here between these two teams to showcase that, yeah, we are the better squad. And we don't want to leave this one to chance. Well, the mid-jungle still of Kanga. They're still going to be quite terrifying. Doesn't matter who they look towards. That isolated damage on towards Foreigner. A flash is just in the nick of time. Refury for the second time says that tower, I do not care. Simply walks past it, but he then walks himself into another enemy as a new challenger joins the fight.
I have to give a bit of respect to Zornus right now. He can create space for Foreigner to get out. Does have the Slicing Maelstrom, which will spell certain death to Refury if he does walk too close to him. But, once again, we're seeing priority happen in the bot lane. You have to respect the Blitzcrank. You cannot, contest away when he has access to the flash. A lot of one-shot potential coming out of this champ. Something underrated about Blitzcrank is his, base damage is so extremely high. And Incursor, once again, getting camped. this is just the classic Katarina. Everyone puts so much attention into your lane. Doesn't try to go for the outplay. Is just doing his best to stabilize as much as possible. And another hook lands, Gimme.
Another hook lands, and that's all she wrote, really. The handshake, a distant afterfall. It's not going to do much more than that. The bailout, not really good enough given how topped up and healthy Antic were. But I suppose the one talking point about this is that Incursio is soaking up so much pressure that surely for the likes of Zornus and the bot lane of Reiku, they must feel so happy knowing that we're never probably going to get ganked.
Yeah, I think this is we would expect to see the bot lane rotate to the mid and alleviate some of that pressure from Incursio, but they're committing to their lane, they're blowing up their 2v2, they're getting 4 plates already, and this is a different play you can do, instead of committing your resources to, other lanes. You can snowball your own lane because you are a win condition, you can absolutely take over this game, and Raze has all the resources, all the gold he needs right now to just be this 1v9 machine.
And I think it makes a lot of sense in this context, right? Because you've already got the static Shiv, you've just picked up all 6 Void Grubs, so why would you rotate when you can just guarantee that first tower and punish them tenfold? Now you can rotate into the mid lane, look to try and alleviate that, and continue to march on forward. So certainly in a very happy space, and it's only going to continue to grow their gold lead further.
Yeah, and, saving grace for Incursor right now, he's allowed to go to the side lane. He can finally find these 1v1s. He can pick up these squishy members. But we do see the objective being signed up by Kanga. They do have priority in the mid lane. They do have 5 members topside. Incursor doesn't want to go bot because he wants to participate in these fights. He wants to be able to snowball. And Foreigner might be a bit overextended here.
Look, Foreigner, you've got to chill for a second here, mate. You've got no flash. Yes, you have the ultimate, but he wants everything. And for good reason, too. Draku hits another hook, and it's instant decimation for Refury. Lights out. No questions asked. Double as easy as you like it. And the perfect player with the perfect scoreline.
Yeah, and just another hook from Draku lands on a crucial member and another kill onto Raze. This is just pretty much perfect gameplay out of the Antic bot lane. Rotate second to objective because they didn't have priority on the mid lane. Wait for your team to collapse, engage when you have your window, and it's just really good execution from this side.
really nicely done. And maybe Foreigner knew just a little bit more than us. We're thinking that's an absolute crazy play to make. He secures it, gets the Herald as well. And now Zoranus is looking for a flank, but KNG are well aware of this one. Just a second ward for good measure. We know where you're at. The slicing Maelstrom coming out to be used as a disengage. Tori Fury cops the tail end of that shuriken and wants no part in this anymore.
Yeah, and this is one of the problems with cards into cannon. You do not want to jump into the cannon. You will die to the AoE coming out of the, the little yordle. But, something else to add on with cannon, back in the day, a lot of the resistances was on the Lightning Rush. You used to remember you would press E, you would gain all the resistances that make you tanky. That is now on the ulti, so Kennen is quite a tanky champion when that ult is popped, and that's why it's so hard to block Kennen during this ulti now. See Antic really take over that. I would like to see KNG use his TP on Sovereign to really kill Raze. Use his TP flank, punish the fact he has no cleanse, and that's probably their way to attack the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm fully on board with that as well because he's just hit the 2-item point at 16 minutes in. The person to take on down. Warmogs for the Blitzcrank as well. They are a very formidable duo, but I'm quite impressed there in Curcio, knowing that he was probably going to be a juicy target for the ult out of that. Lissandra once more does get the shampoo to safety across the wall, gets stunned in place, but says, you've missed your chance, mate. Try again next time.
This is the wave clear extraordinaire build. The combo of the Stag Shiv and the Hurricane means you farm so fast. You blow up these camps in waves so fast. You're always on the map. Your tempo is very good, and you get to farm even faster to get towards that Infinity Edge, which is your crucial power spike on most of these AD carries.
And we already saw it today from Lemus right into the matchup against Styx. So much passive cleave that will zone members away, and I'm sure Vendrick will fall into a similar case, right? Because these piercing arrows, while still strong, he's gone for the more hybrid build, right? Wanting the Renata, still itemizing towards that lethality, but seemingly wanting more on-hit use. Yeah,
we see another hook land. This might just be lights out again. TP flank is coming in this time. This is a double TP skimmy.
Ona is squishy though. He has become the Renata, and Curcio TP's in as well, just for good measure, and instantly shampoos to safety. Actually a flash. I correct myself there. Heartbreak to gain distance.
Hook is
as
up.
Ona gets rid of that Renata form. Fantastic stun! Locks in place two. They'll find one. The Katarina survives for the meantime, and the hook is unable to even out those odds.
Yeah. Hook lands on the cannon medium, but this is the team fight I'm talking about, Skimmy. It is so easy for, Sovereign to click R and any member of the enemy team, and they pretty much blow up, minus Drac, who's a bit tanky. I don't know if Refury wants to be ganking Zoranus right now. This is a very strong cannon. It could mean lights out for him if he does jump onto Zoranus, especially with that Slicing Maelstrom being available.
Yeah, he just looks at him, gets mute on, says, you know what, fair enough, walks away, and says, you've got a 2-level lead. I am no longer interested. Back to the mid lane we go then, because that's what we're all about. 2 towers to nothing so far in Antic's favor, and very close to getting a third, with all outer tier 1s taken as a result, and just makes it easier and easier for the likes of a Kennen to flank, a Katarina to hide, and a Blitzcrank to throw out rogue hooks.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for this one pop-up team fight to come out in Curcio. I think that this game is highlighting the rest of the team for Antic, especially, I think they're doing so well where they do not have the pressure coming out of the mid lane of Curcio, but this is what we want from the team. You want to see him play these kind of champs that don't necessarily have this lane pressure, but something that he can excel on in the micro aspect in these skirmishes.
Again, Draku seizing the opportunity to say, that ultimate, you're going to have to self-cast it this time, mate. You've had too much fun going for the kill. That must feel good for Incursive to answer back finally and take him down. They'll summon the Herald for good measure too, and they'll punish because, as we already mentioned, this Herald, in tandem with the 6 grubs, they have so much sieging potential. Very lucky not to get hooked back to his Refury. Not going to stop them from attempting to go further as they're playing towards, 2 lanes. It was 3 just before.
Yeah, just taking down all these inner turrets. There's 3 inner turrets down at 19 minutes, Skimmy. The gold lead is just absolutely ballooning. Foreigner is getting ulted here, but he's going to be able to walk this one off. There's no follow-up coming out of the KNG side. He doesn't worry too much. And they're going to base with all this money they have accumulated, maybe after they pick up a little cheeky Wudon kill on the exit, and just be very happy with his game state. Yeah, the Infernal Chains are broken. The Slicing Maelstrom comes out, and Wudon is a living statue at this point, stunned in what feels like forever. Great flash away, but still the damage connects. And Foreigner finds that soul that he was hunting for all day long. KNG is a little bit late to the party, and all they find is a grave. Yeah, just a very easy pickup for Wudon. Probably feels a bit safer than he should because of, Antic have been on the map so long, and you think, oh, they need to reset, they can't really do this. But maybe Incurcio is the one to overextend now, doesn't have access to the flash, and it should be an easy pickup for Refury if he keeps landing these isolated Qs. He'll do it, he's going to cycle through those autos. Oh, nearly got spaced out underneath the tower. I was really hoping he wouldn't try and hit the tower instead of the champion. Incurcio does fall down finally,
And, well, really, both mid laners have been the focus for everybody to take down.
Yeah, and we see 2 items completed for Zarnus, 2 items completed for Sovereign, 2 items completed for Ray. So these are the main members in the game who are extremely strong. You know, Foreigner is quite strong himself, but it's not necessarily easy for him to pop up in his team fights by himself. He needs his team to enable him. He needs to find those resets. Thanks to the, engage coming out of Zarnus or Draku. Still has access to the teleport, so if they do walk in, or if Kenga do walk in and contest an objective or contest vision, there's always that teleport flank they need to worry about because this Kennen is a bit of a monster right now.
Yeah, it certainly is. Those deep TP flanks have always been a hallmark of a good Kennen player, right? The ability to try and find those moments to just go full 1v9 modes. And we talk about the sort of water sprinkler bit of the Rays, always having the tempo, always having the ability to take down waves in a mere matter of seconds. We've now got the Infinity Edge, so this damage is just going to go absolutely through the roof, and for good reason too. He says, you know what? Flash in their face. There is that slicing Maelstrom, and there is the triple kill to continue the perfect scoreline.
And that's our play of the day, Skivvy. Without a doubt, that is an absolute destructive ult coming out of Zarnus, slicing Maelstrom across all 4 members who were present in mid lane from Kang. It is being deleted, paired it up with the lightning partner in Raze, and everyone is dead.
It's beautiful. It really is a case of the perfect storm where everything comes together. We've had a day of disruption, but a game played that really speaks for itself here as we run it back one more time.
Yeah, and just a really nice hook to start off straight away, but Zarnus finds his angle, lands the slicing Maelstrom across so many members, and Raze, the amount of damage he's outputting with these autos is just shredding the members on Kanga, and there's just not an answer coming out in the DPS department.
It's just too much to deal with, and you even see that Sovereign had his ultimate the entire time, but just unable to execute, unable to self-cast, or at least even turn it around to try and take somebody down with him. They weren't able to go down quietly. They were simply removed from the equation. And Draku really is trying to farm for the MVP, isn't he? All over the map, an absolute nuisance.
It's pretty hard not to give it to him so far based on the performance in this game. He is, the tool that has really brought Antic's lead to fruition right now. He's landing so many hooks in his individual lane, constantly in his team fights, finding crucial members with this, rocket grab and doing such a good job on a chant that you said he might not be too comfortable on.
Yeah, must feel good. Absolutely must feel good to try and answer back and say, look, I can play the champion again. I am comfortable once again. And this may be a pick we get to look forward to seeing one more time in the playoffs. But here we go, Tally. They've got the Baron buff for a full 2 minutes. And they'll look to try and siege, but Incursey says, watch this, guys. Oh, just get caught out. He's alive, Tally. He's alive. How's he still alive? How has he done it? He's a cat with 9 lives. He refuses to fall on down. And that's heartbreak for Kanga because it's a 4v5.
Yeah, I mean, Incursey is just getting completely bullied this game. Even though Kanga are losing, they're going to make sure that Incursey does not have a good time on this Katarina. He's trying his best to have any impact in this game, but there's just so much tools to deal with him in this game. And with that, that major, engage tool in the Chains of Corruption being there onto Race, he feels very comfortable to walk up and hit these towers.
Yeah, struggling so much to try and attend to these waves. They're actually just trimming 2 at the same time. There is an instantly hook and Woodom. He's down for 40 seconds, Re-Fury flanking, but nobody's isolated. So how do you try and take them down? It's just too hard. It really is as simple as that for Antic to bully you out of your own base. Take that one Nexus power and flash on forward and say, night, night, sweet dreams to Varus. And this game is looking like it's going to rest very early on here. 23 minutes in. The pool's almost feeling longer than the game itself as the slicing Maelstrom will remove Gavin from the equation. A self-cast of the Lissandra ultimate. Porcelain OP. Get 6 of that as a trait and you will win your TFT games, but you won't win on Summoner's Rift as Antic get all 3 points.
Yeah, and this is what we wanted to see. We want to see 2 very clean performances out of Antic. That must feel very nice as a confidence boost to go back after yesterday's performance and be like, all right, guys, we played well. But, as we can see on camera, Incursey are very frustrated with the fact he was not able to play his champ this game. He got camped. No one helped him. Very unfortunately, he was unable to pop for the category because I know we were all waiting for it. We were all so excited that he finally got to play it. But, fortunately, jungle diff.
Was jungle diff. Yeah, it really was the case of Kha'Zix was the bug, and there was no bug spray to be found. You can almost see like a war general. He is just screaming and shouting in comms to his team. That game was miserable. Yes, I fixed my win rate on the champion, but at what cost?